So, a couple of years ago, I downloaded a bunch of free Kindle books because I decided that I wanted to do a YouTube channel dedicated to bad books. The very first book that I decided to review on that channel, this channel, was a book called The Vampire from Hell, Part 1, Book 1, yada yada. They're really obscenely long title. And I only made it about halfway through that book because it was just so terribly written. Until now, there has not been another single book bitch book that has actually gotten me to stop reading the goddamn thing out of sheer frustration, boredom, and unwillingness to continue. Especially not as soon as fucking Hit got me to stop. I didn't even make it halfway through the third chapter. I hate this book. I hate this book with the same passion that I hate fucking Vampire from Hell. I hate it. I hate it a lot. And, you know the sad thing? Looking at it just now, just looking at the back just now, I just realized that it's from the same publisher as the fucking Shane Dawson book I just finished filming the review for. Anyway, Hit had an amazing concept, and I mean, look at this freaking cover. This cover is awesome. Like, I really thought this was going to be an interesting book. But, you know, it has an amazing concept, and it's executed just so poorly. But basically, in this little world of this book, a bank has kind of purchased the U.S. It paid off the U.S.'s debts and basically owns the U.S. now. The U.S. is no longer called the U.S. The U.S. is now Valor Nation. Valor Nation, hey, at least they're on the right Pokemon team, right? Shit, this is a Pokemon review now, but I'm not dressed for a Pokemon review. Crap, I really gotta remedy this. Hold on, guys. There. That's better, right? Well, I didn't think the Flareon was gonna stay. But anyway, Hit is about this bank that has, essentially taken over the U.S. and is now going around and having people basically perform bounty hunter type tasks and like assassination, like, hitman type shit. Basically, that's what I was groping for. I'm sorry, it's like 1 a.m. as I'm filming this. I'm just trying to get reviews filmed all together, all at once, if I can. Anyway. They've got regular citizens performing hitman tasks, which is kind of cool. Like, the theory's kind of cool, at least. Like, as I said, the concept's interesting. Like, honest to God, I really fucking love the concept of this book. If the concept was actually well executed, I would really have enjoyed this book. And who knows, maybe it got better after halfway through the third chapter, but oh my god. It was just awful. And I'm dropping shit. But anyway. Fucking, so they've got people basically being hitmen for the credit card company, which is going around and having people killed for, owing money, like having defaulted on their credit card debt or their mortgage or whatever. The main character in this is a girl named Patsy who is supposedly 17, but from what I read of her, she reads more like a 55, 56-year-old woman. Particularly like a 55, 56-year-old woman who has been poor most of her life, works a shitty factory job, has been divorced at least once, and does not give a shit about anything. Anyway, the concept is hella cool. Like, they show up at your door and they give you 3 options. You can pay your money in full. You can fucking, die, basically. Or you can become a hitman for the fucking bank, and they will own your ass for 5 days or longer. Honestly, that's like the only reason I really wish I could have gotten through the book, is because I wanted to know if they would have kept Patsy hanging on or whatever after the 5 days was up. But they will make you kill, I think it was 10 people in 5 days, and if you do that, you are absolved of your debt. And if you don't, they'll kill you. But, yeah. Valor Nation, guys. Valor's pretty badass. I really wish that the book would have been as interesting as the concept, because really, like, a dystopia based around banking and fucking credit card companies deciding to take out take matters into their own hands and go after people who are defaulting on their loans and shit. Like, hell yeah, that would have been such an interesting read. But there are so many problems with this book, just from what I read of it, and I'm not even gonna get into most of them, because I don't know if the author got any better or any worse with it throughout the rest of the book, and I'm not going to sit and read through the rest of it, and I'm also not going to sit here and incite the wrath of another fucking fan base, because somehow I feel like Delilah S. Dawson probably has fans, and she'll probably blog about me or something. Nah. I don't think most people are that petty. But my most glaring issue, and maybe it's just because I only read the first 2.5 chapters, I doubt it though, but my most glaring issue, the biggest problem that I had with this fucking book, was that the characters are cardboard. They have 0 personality unless they're being forced to do something in, like, in the story. Like, Patsy had literally nothing to her except for, apparently, she yarn bombs. Like, she knits shit and, like, graffitis with yarn, because you know that's totally something that teenagers do. I'm a person who constantly is talking about how stupid teenagers are, and even I'm kind of side-eyeing this shit. Like, to each their own. Fucking, if you yarn bomb, if you knit like crazy, that's on you. That's awesome. Fucking, I love knitting too. I mean, I made a fucking Jedi costume. Fucking, I'll even fucking do a fucking picture of it right here, because that's way more interesting than this goddamn book was. But, fucking, how hard is it to give us a real character? How hard is it? I don't find it that difficult to write a character that's something, near realistic. I'm not saying realistic as in, like, the popular girl, or, someone that you'd really want to be a friend of. But you can write a realistic teenager without really having to expend that much energy. Do these people not remember what it's like to be a teenager, or does mainstream publishing just make it really difficult to actually show what a fucking teenager acts like? Or do we just want to make teenagers all act like either fucking really tiny children or really mature adults? Because we really shouldn't be doing that. Teenagers aren't tiny children or mature adults. Teenagers are, as I've said many fucking times, stupid on a fundamental level. That doesn't make them bad. And them being stupid is not a bad thing. It's just the stage of life you're in. Your brain's still making connections. It's still figuring shit out. You're still figuring shit out. And the decisions you make when you're a teenager are by and large gonna be kinda dumb. I don't really understand why we force kids to, like, decide what they want to do, like, as far as college and whatever, when they're in their teens. Because really, you're not gonna have any idea, honest to God, what the fuck you want to do until you're in your 20s, if you're lucky. But, like, I know this was a rant about fucking characters being somewhat realistic, but Jesus Christ. It's not that damn difficult to write a character that isn't fucking cardboard. And every character that was introduced, except for the lady that was dying of old age and or cancer and or plot necessity, I think that was the only character that was actually anything other than a product of what's happening. Like, I know I've been talking a lot about weird shit on this channel, like, where I'm not explaining myself all that well, but, that's mostly because I don't remember what the hell the term is for what I'm trying to say, and you can't really Google a paragraph. So, but the characters aren't reacting to what's happening. Like, they're not a character with their own storyline and thoughts and feelings and reactions and, you know, opinions and shit reacting to what's happening. They are a piece of cardboard and something is happening to them. That's it. If the plot requires them to have some kind of preconceived thing with whatever the fuck is happening to them, then they'll have something, like, they'll have a reaction, like, a specific reaction. But, by and large, none of the characters in this had a proper goddamn, personality. Patsy came close with her poor girl, yarn bombing thing, which, honestly, I'm gonna kinda call bullshit on right now, mostly because I'm a huge knitter, and if you're as poor as she was making, or, like, it was being made out to be in this book, that her and her mom were, if you're that poor, if you're in that dire of straits, you're not wasting a dickload of money on yarn to fucking yarn bomb a flagpole. I don't care how fucking badly you need some kind of distraction. The amount of yarn necessary for that is a ridiculous amount. One skein of yarn is something like $3 to $8 for a shit skein of yarn. And to fucking yarn bomb a flagpole, like, it sounded like she was actually making, like, an entire, like, a sleeve for the goddamn flagpole. Like, that's how it was described. That's a dickload of yarn. That's a dickload of money I don't think anybody would waste on that kind of shit in their situation. Like, I really... I'm trying to trying to fucking come up with a way to say what I mean with this shit. And I'm sorry, I'm tired, and it's just... But, you know, I was poor for a good chunk of my life. I'm still not exactly living in the lap of luxury. But for a good chunk of my life, living at home with my parents, we were poor. We were very poor. At one point, both my parents were unemployed, and I was the only one working. There were months that we were very barely making enough for rent between what my dad was doing for little odd jobs and his unemployment. Those were months when a cup of Starbucks coffee was our, like, entertainment budget for the entire fucking month. And these people in this book, like Patsy and her mother, are described as being worse off than my family was at that point in our lives. I, honest to flying fucking God, do not believe that this little bitch was fucking knitting some stupid ass bullshit to fucking put on the fucking flagpole at fucking school. Like, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and pour shame or whatever, because, I mean, I'm not exactly living in the lap of luxury, but, you know, I went out and bought a fucking Charizard hat and a Flareon for a goddamn Pokemon Go joke about a book that I fucking hated. But, you know, I'm calling bullshit on it. If you're in that dire of, you know, if you're in those dire of straits, you're not gonna buy ridiculous amounts of completely frivolous shit. Now, if she was buying it to make a sweater or something, like, that would be a little more understandable and a little more believable. But nothing, and I mean nothing, about this book was believable, and that's sad, because there was a lot of scenes I read that would have been so much better if they'd been written in a believable way. And they weren't. In closing, I think I would recommend any book but that. I mean that. Go buy The Vampire from Hell. Go buy In Real Life by Joey Graceffa. Go buy I Hate My Selfie by Shane Dawson. Let's see here. Go read The Dolls by Kiki Sullivan. Just don't fucking read Hit. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Next week we will be talking about In Real Life by Joey Graceffa. And next Tingle Tuesday we will be talking about, what the hell was that one? Turned Gay by the Living Alpha Diner. So be excited, guys. Stay awesome. I'll see you guys.